Greetings and welcome to episode 152 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander, and I'm joined this week by Keith Robinson, who has no idea that we have a fancy new background because he can't see it. He sees it when you guys see it, but I can see it right now. There. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who's been paying attention to all the new artwork on our websites. Keith, how are you? How you doing?
Yes, I've totally been paying attention to all the new artwork on our website.
Oh, I know. No one actually I can't This is why I'm okay with the fact that no one watches my live streams because I can't even convince my friends to watch my live streams.
You were full screen playing The Division 2, like, half an hour ago?
I know, and I had two people watching me, and they were both very quiet. I should hit start on this stopwatch. There we go. It was a pretty good week until 5 minutes ago. I feel like when I just pointed the thing out to you, they removed Notch from all the loading screens in Minecraft, which I was like, "Hey, get in," because he's terrible. And then there was some other stuff, but it's all been blown out of my brain by the fact that I opened Steam up and there's the game on the top of the new and trending list called, I can't even remember. It's got a transphobic slur in the title. Trap something or other about cross-dressing people. Steam. Just in case anyone was wondering, because I know people don't like it when you're like, I wish the Epic Game Store all the success in the world because it's totally popular to hate on it now. And I'm like, I hope the Epic Game Store crushes Steam.
See, I've just looked at the new and trended, and I can't actually see what you're on about.
Logged in? Because you have to be logged in.
What I can see is Funbag Fantasy side boob story.
Mm-hmm.
It's pulled from the top.
Hold on. If you're watching a podcast on YouTube, you might get, you're going to see my Steam library very briefly. Sorry. Not sorry. While we look this up, because apparently we're looking this up. Because I hate myself. Yeah. Click. Trap Shrine. I mean, I just die in a fire already, Steam. This long, protracted, drawn-out process of your death is greatly and angering me. Anyway, let's talk about what the Words About Gamescast is and pull up out of this deep dark hole, because I feel like we've been diving into this pit of despair too much recently. So I'm going to read the thing I wrote on this thing while Keith is looking puzzled at his computer screen.
Yeah.
So here on the Words About Gamescast, we discuss 5 topics centered around what's been going on gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days, before we leave you with a list of games coming out this week. Keith, would you like me to tell the people what we're going to be talking about this week?
Go ahead.
It's not Steam. This week, we're speculating on Ubisoft and Bethesda's E3 plans, as well as discussing Sony and Microsoft stabs at Nintendo Direct-style presentations, Sekiro's approach to difficulty, an EA survey that shows gamers want more inclusion and less toxicity, and rounding up a few smaller but important news stories from the past week. As always, there are timestamps below on the video description on YouTube, so if you want to skip around or you just want to skip certain things, you just go right ahead. That's what they're there for. Skip, Keith. Give me a visual aid. Just start skipping.
Yeah.
Do you have a skipping rope?
Not here now.
Damn. We were close. We were so close to glory. Wait, not here? You mean you do have one? Somewhere.
My sister's got one for exercise.
Interesting. I may have to borrow
that for boxing gloves
for the next charity live stream. You can keep the boxing gloves far, far away from Russell. Shall we start with the first thingamabob. Ubisoft will be at E3 this year, which in previous years probably wouldn't be newsworthy, but with the amount of people who are saying we're not going to be at E3, it is kind of newsworthy. So this is part one of two, because there's some Bethesda stuff as well. So what I thought was, we could do some E3 speculating, because it's been a slow news week. It's been a very, very slow news week. So yeah, Ubisoft has confirmed it'll be returning to E3 in 2019, with its conference beginning on June 10th at 1 p.m. PT, which is the game, not the time zone. Could you imagine if it was, though? If it was just a press conference, that was PT as well.
I think there'll be many of the press that went in there that wouldn't come out as the same person.
Or just not come out at all. What the hell's Jason Schreier? Like, he was right behind me, but...
Imran Khan's the only person to walk out.
He's just got to change.
It's like the beginning of Battle Royale. He's just like... just kind of smiling wide-eyed, not paying attention to anything.
So, are there any new games coming out, Imran Khan? It's an interesting. I mean, Devolver Digital is a thing, so you know, something similar could actually happen. Anyway, I wrote, let's speculate, and then I was like, you know what? We should have informed speculation. So, here's the game. The games that Ubisoft are confirmed to be working on are Anno 1800, Skull and Bones, and Beyond Good and Evil 2. The rumours are Splinter Cell, which is still based on that Walmart listing from last year, and Watch Dogs 3, which is apparently going to be set in London. Ubisoft will be releasing between 3 to 4 games between April 2019 and March 2020, according to Ubisoft themselves. So, what do we think is going to happen at E3? Is someone going to fall through the podium again? Because that was fun. That was last year, right? Did the Trials guy come out and just fall straight through the podium?
I remember, I vaguely remember something like that happening.
Ubisoft's press conferences at E3 have gotten less and less memorable as time goes on, but there are still memorable moments.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the more that they made it, they were under stress to make them memorable and fantastic when they were about to be bought up by Vivendi. So they kind of just relaxed.
Now they're not being about to be bought out by Vivendi. Maybe like now they'll unleash their true power.
He's got the one that just walks out the toga and it just screams "Release the Kraken." At which point you just get a game title up that says "Release the Kraken," and then you just play as the Kraken devouring ships.
Like Man-Eater, that shark RPG we saw.
Yeah, like as you go through the levels, it gets more and more advanced. So the end, you're being hunted by nuclear submarines.
Sure, yeah, of course. My pitch was just
that's a game pitch there, Ubisoft.
You can have that one. My pitch was just Yves Guillemot just walks out on a stage and he just stands there in the middle of the stage while like lights, and then he waits for all the people to be like stop clapping and stuff, and then he just opens his mouth, and then the light just comes out. It's like Bwah! And then the live stream goes dark, and we never find out what truly happened.
We never find out what truly happened. However, for some reason, Half-Life 3 appeared briefly on Steam.
On Uplay.
Took months for anyone to realise it was on Uplay, but still.
Oh man. Oh dear. I mean, just to go on a tangent, I remember when we were talking about Half-Life 3 last year, and I was saying the best thing Valve could ever do with Half-Life 3 is just release it and not tell anyone. And now it's like, if they released it and didn't tell anyone, like it would get buried under so much shite on the Steam store that it's possible that it could actually come out. They do that and then no one actually notices. Like that's how bad the Steam storefront is.
Yeah, I mean, the only people that probably troll through the new and upcoming games if they're the ones looking for really horrific stuff. They might not realise Half-Life 3 would be a find.
Yeah.
I mean, when did Half-Life come out? Like 15 years ago?
Oh, God. When did Vampire come out? We talked about it last week. It was in 2004. Because Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines and Half-Life 2 came out.
about 15 years. There are
On
people.
the same day. I feel like something like my dog. I'm sure I should say my dog. Sorry.
It's alright, you just wanted.
We
Yeah, it's
need
like
this.
there are people who could who could buy and play Half-Life 2 legally.
He weren't born when it
Who were
came
not
out.
born when the game came out.
Oh dear. Oh my god. It's an old game. But anyway, Ubisoft. Sorry, that was a fun tangent though. I mean, yeah.
Are you even going to ask where that came from?
I don't know. Where does anything come from in my brain? It just happens. I mean, they're not doing Assassin's Creed this year, so they've got to have something coming out this fall. And obviously, I've got a prediction from the predictions show riding on Watch Dogs 3 being announced and released. It'd be pretty cool if it was set in London.
I don't know.
I like London as a setting for games just purely because I've been there. So it's kind of cool to like run around in a video game in London, like when Assassin's Creed Syndicate was set in Victorian London.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I've not been to Victorian London because I'm not 300 years old, but it was fun to like.
Time travel.
No comment. But it was fun to just run around places and be like, oh, I've been here. Like, I've been to this street. I've been to this place. I've seen this thing. Like, I mean, I saw it in like 2015, but not the 18th century. But you know, it'd be cool. I feel like they are going to do that because they've had this habit in the past of announcing games like way too early, and then they're doing what a lot of publishers are doing nowadays, like AAA publishers, which is they're like shortening the time between them announcing something and then releasing it. I mean, mostly. Skull and Bones is still like been announced ages ago and is nowhere to be seen. I mean, we'll probably see that as well, I would have thought. Now that they changed it from some weird deathmatch PvP game into an actual pirate game.
Initially it was very weird. I mean, the last look we had of it was better.
Yeah, I think it was cool as well because like it came right on the back of like a lot of people like us realizing that Sea of Thieves wasn't quite what we hoped it would be, and then Ubisoft were like, "Here's Skull and Bones," and it's like, "There's still hope. There's still hope."
Pirates, ninjas.
Yeah. Wait, what?
We'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to Sekiro later. So I think those two are the big games that I think like the ones that they focus on. Those two and Beyond Good and Evil 2 will be like the main focuses. They might talk about some Division 2 expansion pass stuff. Maybe because that's a thing. Because that gets, I can't log into that game without it being like, hey, you should buy the season 1 pass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to. You're gonna give me free story content, and I'm not really that bothered about the expansion pass stuff. So I'm good. Just be happy that I'm still here. This is the longest I've ever apart from Destiny 2, which I played because I was playing with you and Mark. It's the longest I've ever played a live service game. Like, normally I just play it for a bit and then I'm like, yeah, I'm bored now. Do we like? What do you think about Splinter Cell? Do you think it's gonna happen? We have been speculating about Splinter Cell being at E3 since this podcast began. Because the first E3 we did a podcast for, I remember we talked about Splinter Cell.
Yeah, I mean, last E3 there was all this stuff running up to it about, like, oh, there's all this stuff about Splinter Cell, like Ghost Recon, like, was it like thing Ghost Recon?
Yeah, because there was a crossover DLC thing, Ghost Recon, and then that Walmart Canada leak, that really weird Walmart Canada leak, and Splinter Cell was on the list.
Yeah.
So was Forza Horizons 5.
Which Walmart has said was just a speculative list.
Yeah.
Of things that could be happening.
Yeah, but they got stuff like Rage 2, because that list got leaked, and then everyone was like, huh, whatever. And then Bethesda came out the next day and were like, fuck, well, we better announce Rage 2. And then everyone was like, oh shit, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
It was definitely a speculative list for some part, because again, they listed Forza Horizons 5 instead of Forza Horizon 4, the game that actually came out last year.
Yeah.
So there were some errors on there. But
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before we started, I was watching PAX, and there was some people on there, like the woman who does the stuff at Devolver Digital, and she discussed the story behind their press conferences.
yes,
And how many members of the press actually tried to get tickets.
I watch.
Anyway, yeah,
I
they
follow her
mentioned
on Twitter.
the Walmart thing being completely speculative, but also really, really annoying.
Yeah, I think a lot of publishers were really annoyed by that because they were even like memeing it when like the Game
Yeah.
Awards and stuff. I can't remember which publisher it was. Oh no, it wasn't a publisher. It was Jeff Keighley. He was like a week before the Game Awards last year came out and was like, "Oh yeah, like we've got all of our trailers and world premieres locked in. Don't spoil anything, Walmart Canada." Fuck's sake. I mean, what else could I mean? I'd like to see some kind of smaller indie-ish. It's obviously not an indie game because it's Ubisoft, but you know how like, they do the smaller games
Yeah.
like Grow Home or Valiant Hearts, Child of Light. We might see Child of Light
I mean,
too.
too, yeah, I mean, we'll probably see some of that. I'll be surprised if we didn't. But I
Yeah,
think the star of the show is going to be Beyond Good and Evil.
yeah,
That's what I want to see,
because that's what everybody wants to see, right? Um,
apparently.
apparently, like I look at what I want to know is, and I've been asking this question for two years now. It's like, does Ubisoft have the license to make Star Trek games? Because they made a Star Trek game, a really really fucking good Star Trek game, and I've asked this question. So do they have the license to make that one Star Trek game, or do they have the license to make Star Trek games in general? Because Star Trek's pretty popular again right now,
Yeah.
and I want Star Trek.
I mean, the license for it must be ridiculously complicated because how I was watching Star Discovery, it's like, oh, Discovery's got a lot of the sort of like it's got the look of the films, but it's not set in the film universe because they're not allowed to, and they're not allowed to use the uniforms.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of like complicated licensing about it. I mean, it would be really cool
yeah.
to like have a Discovery Bridge and stuff. I mean, it would be cool to be on there at some point, but
Yeah. I mean, like Bridge Crew, like without meaning to sound like I'm insulting anyone,
yeah,
Bridge Crew, it doesn't seem like a game that would take a lot of time to make, like relative to like say a AAA Star
Mhm.
Trek game of some description,
Yeah.
RPG. But it does make me wonder if they've like they made Bridge Crew to like put it out there to do something quick with the license, and then we're like, but we've got people secretly working on Star Trek, the Star Trek RPG that it's taken like a million years to come because for some reason there has never been a Star Trek RPG. But yeah, like beyond that, like there's tons of licenses like Prince Persia, Rayman. Like they could go in so many different directions. Like Just Dance is obviously going to be a thing. Like that'll be a moment in time wherein we sort of sit blinking at the screen, like looking at each other, like is this really happening? Like is this?
it's like I was prepared for Just Dance. I wasn't expecting for Mario to be one of the dancers.
Mario and Rabbids too. Mario and Rabbids was a successful game.
When's the next Olympics? Because we might get an announcement for the
Oh, that was just revealed. That's a Nintendo. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2020. Yeah, they just said there was going to be a new one. I mean, I would have added it into the 5 most important news stories of the week, but I mean, I didn't. My bad. But yeah, Ubisoft should be fun. Ubisoft always put on a good show. Even when they do games like Steep, which I wasn't interested in, the reveal was really good because it was funny. And it actually got me to play.
Bell Towel.
Yeah. Ding! Ah! Oh no! That was good. Anyway, let's do a part 2. Which is, there's a whole thing here, but I don't feel like I don't need to read it. Basically, Imran Khan over at Game Informer has broke the news that Todd Howard has confirmed that Elder Scrolls Starfield won't be at E3. That's the Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, the 2 hottest JPEGs of E3 2018. Neither one of them will actually receive any care or attention at E3 20. Are you surprised that?
I mean, the Elder Scrolls one I thought was just kind of added last time, sort of like, and we're working on this to get some hype.
Yeah, they did what BioWare did with Dragon Age later
Yeah.
on. They just did it first, where they were like, Fallout 76 is the big thing we're focusing on, but it's not what you want, but don't worry, because we are working on what you want too. So buy this game, and then we can pay for these games. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because they said that was even further out. So it was like, Starfield's our next game, and then even further away is Elder Scrolls 6. And it was literally 2 fucking still images and titles.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe there might be like a FMV sequence for Starfield.
I thought they would do something with Starfield. Makes me wonder why they're not, because Fallout 76 is done, right? Like, I don't know, but then it's like, well, they can't really have moved the bulk of the development studio onto Starfield because Fallout 76 still doesn't work properly.
Yeah.
But it is. Fallout 76 was a shame because it could have been cool, and I had fun building a house, but the rest of the game was just like, no, thank you.
House or fort? Because I do remember you saying there was quite a few turrets strapped.
I had to build the turrets because of where I built the house. I didn't realize it was a spawning zone for the scorched enemies, so I needed
real
turrets.
estate agents. Am I right? Never said that the land was
I didn't even build it in any sort of like. It wasn't because this thing is over here or this resource is over, or like I just was like, yeah, this looks good. Shit.
At one moment they came downstairs with your coffee and your fluffy slippers, and there's that in the middle of the room.
It's like, oh well, at least the defenses are working. I mean, they've revealed both of these games too early, right? Like,
yeah.
They've played their ads far too early. I mean, it's a question on here, but it's like, yeah, there's an easy answer. Yes, they did.
Yeah. I feel at the moment, I mean, we've said this more with BioWare and that, but it's like, oh yeah, we'll announce this other game really early so people know that the game that they want is coming, because we don't think they'll like the game we've got coming out at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Andromeda, they launched. Well, they knew there was problems with Andromeda, so they announced Anthem, and it looked like that was maybe a little bit too early.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean,
I don't know. This one's a weird one, like with Anthem. I know I was supposed to be talking about Bethesda. Anthem's a weird one where it's like, I don't know if this was necessarily rushed. Like, I don't know if the extra development time would have made a better game.
Maybe proper beta.
Because there's a lot of
the flow chart.
Yeah, a lot of the issues with Anthem are based around the design of the game, not necessarily that there's bugs. Like, the last major bug that we talked about was a bug that made the game better.
Yeah.
The loot shower. So it's like, the game's working as intended. That's the problem.
Sorry, the term loot shower just made me question something.
Okay. I'll be interested to see what Bethesda actually do, because like Rage 2 will already be out. Elder Scrolls Blades, the mobile game's already going to be out.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal's coming.
Yeah.
So that'll be a thing.
Yeah, that'll be good, because, you know, it's not as if Bethesda would just turn up with nothing real to show.
Yeah, they've never done that before. I just wonder what else they're going to show. Like, are we going to see something Dishonored or from Arcane Studios? Because they've been done with Prey for a little while now. So, like, their next game must be trucking along. But then
I'm predicting Doom and something about mods and their workshop.
Some Elder Scrolls Online thing, maybe something for the card game. Elder Scrolls Legends, maybe they'll release Skyrim on something, a toaster, a fridge. I don't know. Like, is there anywhere left? Is there any frontier left that Skyrim hasn't been released on? Maybe they'll release it inside Fallout 76.
Under the sea. Life is much better where you are wetter. Under the sea. Come on, WoW did that at one point.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, it's hard to speculate on Bethesda when they're like... I mean, they're in Fallout 76 damage mode. Do you think they're going to talk much about Fallout 76 In
This is something that's gone about modern. I think that they may mention something about
pain mods.
Fallout 76 and like modability in Fallout 4. And...
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know, that Fallout 76 presentation last year did them no favors when he came out and he was like, "Now I've read that our games have some bugs," and then obviously Fallout 76 happened, and it's like, you should not have come out with that attitude because you got buried by it. And it'll be interesting to see if they even bother. Like, they're going to mention it, but it'll be interesting to see what they say. Let's move on. Because while we speculate about upcoming presentations, there were actually 2 surprise presentations last week. Yeah. Sony and Microsoft tried their hand at Nintendo Direct style presentations. These aren't the headlines from the articles that I actually pulled. And again, I'm not going to read them. But yeah, so PlayStation's first state of play was kind of okay. Go figure. It was about 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
It was not what anyone was expecting.
I heard quite a few people griping.
It was weird. Like, because when Nintendo do a Direct, like, they always tell you how long it's going to be and what it's going to be about. Whereas Sony were just like, state of play. And that was it. That was all we knew. So it was like, well, what is this? And then they were just like, and then it was just, oh, it's just a Nintendo Direct. But there's no one talking, no camera. So it's just like got this weirdly, like, generic voiceover lady. He was just like, check out this. So there were new games announced. Marvel's Iron Man for PlayStation VR, which is kind of cool. Like, you just play as Iron Man. Like, I don't know if they'll have the music. There was this cool dungeon crawler called Ready Set Heroes, and Five Nights at Freddy's VR, which I was like, because I was streaming my reactions to it, I was literally like, this will kill people. This game will kill people from heart attacks. Like,
this will kill many VR headsets.
This will kill stuff. Like, this stuff will break. People will have heart attacks. Like, and I'm definitely going to end up playing it. And they did a few updates. So there was No Man's Sky is coming to VR, which is nice because I remember before it came out, we were saying like they should put it in VR because it would be the chillest, most amazing VR game ever. Just like wandering around these planets, like. Crash Team Racing Nitro Field was there. I don't remember why, but it was definitely there. They did another trailer for Days Gone, which it seems like they're just begging people to be like, please remember that this game exists. And then there was a fun Mortal Kombat 11 trailer. Oh, and Concrete Genie, which is the indie-ish game that's coming out where you paint things on the walls, and then the monsters in the paintings come to life, and there's boys chasing you. It was okay. It was just a Nintendo Direct style presentation. If this is what they're gonna go with instead of doing PSXs and E3s and stuff, like, oh, I'm not so sure. Like, because what I said on Twitter afterwards was it was all right. It was basically a Nintendo Direct without any personality. And given that we just had like 2 quite rapid Nintendo Directs beforehand, it was like, here's the template, and then it's like, here's the knockoff. I mean, is anything like standing out to you from that thing of like what I just told you they talked about?
Beyond, I didn't watch it myself. I just read the cliff notes. The fact that they didn't have anyone giving you any sort of engagement, sort of like talking to you, or even just doing that every like minute or two, it seems a bit weird.
No, they had blades. Do you remember the old Xbox 360 dashboard where it was blades? So you moved along and it was like, you could see all the blades going along with all that. It was like that. So it would be like, here's Concrete Genie, but then you could see like little snippets of what was coming up.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it kind of amused me that they would use something, or that you'd reference Xbox.
Yes, I mean, I reference Xbox because it's blades. It's exactly what it is. Yeah, it was. It was very strange. And then you get to the end, and it was like, that was 20 minutes long. And you can see, like, Days Gone's coming on. It's like, there's one more thing after this. And then that's it. And then they didn't, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I went into it, like, expecting they would do something a bit bigger, and they didn't. It wasn't. Whatever. Part of me is like, oh, maybe they're going to do these quite regularly. But then it's like, but they talked about games that are so far away. Like, Concrete Genie coming out in the fall. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's is coming out, like, in the summer. Like, damn, they're not going to do these very frequently, are they?
No. You really want Friday Night at Freddy's coming out towards Halloween?
I mean, the rate he puts those games out sometimes, he'd probably have one done by summer and another one done by Halloween. So they're going to do one of these for E3, right? Like,
yeah.
Skipping E3 is, no, they're not skipping E3, are they?
You have to be there physically because everyone complained about last year.
Last year's was cool.
Venues. I mean,
the only thing that was wrong was they had a friggin' intermission where they moved everybody from one hall to the other. I liked the music, the reveals, the stuff. It's just if they just didn't have a break where they talked about fucking Call of Duty and Destiny, it was like, or had like, imagine if that break had like interesting things, or if the break was just that dude with the flute. That would have been better. No. But yeah.
And now for a break, we just cut to this random bus cut. Wait, what?
It's just some dude in LA like, what? There are millions of people watching you around the world.
Just feet away from the camera.
Oh, shit.
No,
I didn't sign a disclaimer. Get that camera away from me. This one won't take long. Microsoft's first ID at Xbox Game Pass was also kind of okay. This one wasn't trying to be a Nintendo Direct, which was good. It was shorter, but they had told us what we were going to see beforehand. They were saying they came out and they said it's going to be a indie game focused. It's going to be about games that are coming out in Game Pass, and there's not going to be very many. I can't remember if they said how many there were going to be or not, but it turns out there are 8. And it's literally brand new, like indie games that aren't out yet that are going to launch, and when they launch, they're going to go straight into Game Pass. And those games were, I didn't write a list down. Shit. Those games are The Outer Wilds, Blazing Chrome, Killer Queen Black, Void Bastards, which you already knew about. Great name for a game, by the way. Fucking great name. Operencia, The Stolen Sun, Supermarket Shriek, which we also knew about, After Party, which we knew about, and The Good Life, which is by the guy who made Deadly Premonition. Killer Queen Black is not only coming to Xbox, which was news to me, but it will be in Game Pass when it launches.
Yeah.
So that game, that game that I was totally going to buy on my Switch, I'm going to get on Xbox. Because it's in Game Pass. That's a really cool list of indie games. Like The Outer Wilds. Like, I hope I'm not getting confused, which I probably am now that I think about it. Because there's The Outer Worlds and there's The Outer Wilds. And I said at the beginning of the year, these two games are going to confuse me all year. I'm pretty sure it's not the RPG being made by Obsidian. It's the other survival game that I thought was going to be in the winter of arcade, but I might have written Outer Wilds thinking it was Outer Worlds, but that's really neither here nor there.
Outer Wilds by Mobius Digital.
That's not the RPG. That's the other one, right?
Open world exploration indie game.
Yeah. It was meant to come out last. If they just released it last year, like they said they were going to, I could have avoided all of this confusion. Lots of indie games coming to Game Pass on release, and I just want to do a hashtag Amy was right, because when the Game Pass was first announced, and it was like, and then Game Pass was first announced, and then later on when they were like, we're going to put all of our first parties in day and date release, and I was like, oh cool. Like at some point they're going to get other people to put games in, and they'll be indie games. They'll be the indie games that release day and date on Game Pass, and now they're doing entire live streams dedicated to that. So a little bit of indication. I'm really good at predicting Xbox stuff, as it turns out. Like
As well as getting Nintendo America to do your bidding.
Play Anywhere, I predicted that. The Xbox One X, I got that name when everybody was calling it Scorpio. And this.
Scorpio!
Yes. So, I want to ask you a question. PlayStation and Xbox following in the footsteps of Nintendo Directs. Is this a good idea? Or not?
What? If PlayStation's doing what we think they're doing, then no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
But what Xbox is doing, giving us like a video, really, of stuff that's coming out in the Game Pass, highlighting all these cool indie games that are going to be available in Game Pass for what you get for your money. I think that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because at the moment with like Game for Gold and stuff, you'll like click on a website and there'll be a picture of the game art.
Yeah, it's that thing where it's got the four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of tells you, because you're looking at games that you already know because they've been out for a while and stuff. With the Game Pass, you're looking at games which haven't been out before. You probably haven't heard of any of these indie games before. I think it's like a direct style video telling you what's going to be in is going to be really helpful for people who are deciding if they want Game Pass or not.
Yeah, man. Like, and they can combine it with Inside Xbox because they do a show which is different from E3, which they also still do, and it's different from a direct style thing. So they've got that show where they can give you the updates on like bigger stuff. But whereas like PlayStation are just confusing the shit out of me right now. Like, for all the games that they talked about at State of Play, they've got Dreams, which is launching in some weird ass fucking early access creators beta in April. Like, and nobody knows because they're not telling anyone, and they just did a video. Like, they just did a PlayStation Direct, and they didn't tell anyone.
I'm gonna go call this the Lara Croft syndrome.
Like,
you've got this game coming out, and you didn't tell anyone.
What? Like, they were killing it a few years ago, and now it's like I look at some of the things that they do and say, and I'm just like, why? What? Why would you do that? Like, I don't get it, man. Like,
they're looking at their console sales and they're just thinking, there's no way anyone can catch up with us. We're still selling.
This is how you lose the next generation, like of sales. Like, they've done this before. Xbox have done this before. It's a cycle, and it doesn't seem to be ending in the next one. It's weird, man. Like, you need to keep the momentum going.
It keeps competition going, because the worst thing that would happen for consumers is if one side just won't throw it out. Yeah,
I guess. Not really, though, because, I mean, Xbox being in second place has been great for the industry because they've been doing all sorts of crazy, awesome shit. But yeah, I feel like Microsoft are picking up speed and like figuring shit out, and PlayStation are doing weird stuff, like not telling people about their games, or like just basically like doing lazy Nintendo Direct copies and not attending E3 and cancelling PSX and
yeah, well, they are gearing up like everyone thinks for the next console. We mentioned when we heard about it that there weren't going to be an E3, that they're like, we don't have anything that's really coming out on this console left to announce the E3. It kind of makes sense. And cancelling PSX wasn't a thing just to remove, like about the name changes.
Yeah, because anyway, thank you, by the way. Thank you for that point.
Yeah, though they've been a bit complicated.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about the way PlayStation have been going recently, but we should move on because we've got a few more things to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to have a discussion about Sekiro because I wanted to. You might be the wrong audience for this particular discussion.
I've got stuff to bring to the table, so
because I know, but I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. Yeah, Sekiro's difficulty and single-mindedness. Like, it's not just the fact that it's difficult, but basically, I wrote some stuff, and I'm just gonna freewheel it. I've got lots of bullet points which we're gonna hit, but basically, I did Sekiro. I played it for like 10 hours. I didn't like it. I stopped playing it because that's what I do now. Because I do impressions and not reviews, and that allows me to stop playing games I don't enjoy.
Instead of getting good.
instead of getting good. There's loads of reasons why I'd like. Yeah, so like, I love Bloodborne. I enjoy Dark Souls 3. Like, one of the things I really like about Bloodborne is it'll kick the shit out of you. But you can go away, you can level up, you can get some more health, you can get some more vitality, you can do this, do that. There's different playstyles with different types of weapons. In Sekiro, you have to parry attacks. Like, because it's all based on this poise meter. And you parry attacks, and that opens you up to do damage to another person's poise, and then once the poise meter is full, you do an attack, which is a shinobi death blow, and stab them. And they die. Unless they've got multiple health bars, in which case you stab them and then you have to do it all again. And that's it. Like, if you don't like parrying, if you're not very good at parrying, like, that's the play style. Like, you can't do anything else. Like, there's one play style to this game, which is a main reason. So, like, if you're stuck on a boss, you can't go away and level up because there's no stats to level up. Yeah. There's nothing. Like, that you can't go. You can go away and maybe find a shinobi tool, but that shinobi tool will only be so useful. And like, the only option is to, you're having trouble with this boss. Cool, fight him again. Like, that's your option. Again. And I was having trouble with each and every boss, and then eventually I just got to a point where I was like, I'm not enjoying this. Like with Bloodborne, when I raged out and put the control down and turned the PlayStation 4 off, I'd walk away, and 10 minutes later I'd be thinking about the game, and then like 20 minutes later I'd be playing it again because I loved it. Whereas with Sekiro, I was raging out and putting it, turning it off, and then I wasn't playing it again until like the next day. And I was only playing it because I was like, I better capture some more footage and do some more stuff for Sekiro so I can make a video about it. And that was my experience. I've got a full impressions video you should go and watch. But this is about difficulty and challenge in video games, because it's reignited that whole discussion about challenge and accessibility. So, should Sekiro and other games like this have difficulty sliders, easy modes, whatever you want to call it? You've stopped me. I was gonna do a bullet point, but you go. I'm gonna sit back.
I just wanted to mention Sekiro was made by software. From software. I was going to say Software Tales. That's not right. Software.
Be right back. Just trademarking that.
Yeah. Name 3 other games that they've made.
Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls Armored Core.
There's something before Dark Souls as well, which was very much like Dark Souls. Demon Souls, that's the one. All of these games have a stick, and I don't mean like a big round thing that you hit people with, but maybe.
Stick. Like
stick.
Schmear.
Yeah.
Schmear on a bagel. Stick.
See, these people kind of have... Certain developers are known for certain things. Like BioWare's always been known for what? Really? RPG. RPGs. And
That's
people are like,
game.
oh, you can't have a BioWare game without like romance and stuff in it and stuff. Certain publishers...
really?
This is what I'm saying. It's like certain publishers, people have an expectation for their games, and going against those expectations often can generate negative feedback. Negative feedback. So I kind of think that going into Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, was very much sort of like...
I've already heard that joke. The Sekiro joke. Sorry. Continue. Yeah.
I didn't actually make that joke.
I know. It's just what I heard, and then I thought,
Shiki. But no.
Slide twice.
Trying to get back to where I was coming from. There was very much in the case like we don't want to make another Dark Souls game because it's really lore heavy. We want to do something new, and exciting. Okay, but let's play it to our strengths. So what does that mean? And it's very much sort of like
we made another Dark Souls game.
Yeah, it's like, how about Dark Souls, but set in Japan, and it's based entirely on skill, unlike Bloodborne, where you could level up and stuff. This will be entirely based on a person's skill, and they'll get better as they play through the game. to like as a combination for the, because there are games out there where you don't so much like upgrade or everything. You just get used to how the game played, so you become better at it. And
Yeah,
I
sure.
feel this is something that they've
That
played
was
into.
that was part of the progression of Bloodborne and Dark Souls as well. Here's the problem, right? In Bloodborne, I'm going to use Bloodborne as the touchstone because that's the game I played the most. So in
Yeah.
Bloodborne, right? If I let's do the first boss, not technically the first boss, the cleric beast. When I get to the cleric beast and I want to fight the cleric beast again, and I know there's tons of stuff because obviously I haven't done my entire impressions in this, but just to like talk on that point, it's like if I want to go to that boss and fight that boss and learn that boss, I just run to that boss. Like I can get past, you just run past every enemy. In Sekiro, you have to if you like. I'll use one boss as a specific example, but this isn't just the only boss where this happens. There's a general boss, a mini boss. There are so many
Mm-hmm.
mini bosses in this game; it's insane. And he's surrounded by troops, normal guys. So to fight him in a boss encounter, I've got to do this stealth because I've got to kill all of these dudes before I attack the boss. Because if I don't, I'm going to be fighting the boss and like 6 or 7 normal enemies, which is impossible. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so you're talking like 5 to 10 minutes of stealth to then go, okay, now I'm going to learn this boss. Oh shit, he did a move I've never seen before and killed me. Now I've got to go back. Oh shit, I've got to kill all of these guys in stealth again. I actually beat that one, in fairness, eventually. Um, but it just, yeah, it's different. You can't help but compare it to Bloodborne and Dark Souls because it's by the same developer. They are very different games, although they're not actually that different, as it turns out. Sekiro is very much a stripped down version of Dark Souls or Bloodborne, and I feel like they doubled down on the get good part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part, as you know, that's the part that I've always hated because that's the gatekeepery bullshit. Like, if you go on social media and you go, I wish Sekiro had a difficulty slider, like
Mm-hmm.
some sort of option to tone down the difficulty. Well, actually, it's not all that difficult if you just patient and learn the game. Bitch, I don't have time to fucking learn every single boss in this game. I don't have 100 hours to play it. like I don't have like a week to like play it to make no progress just so I can learn the moveset of this game. Like, and I would because I did with Bloodborne because I love Bloodborne. I don't enjoy Sekiro, so I'm not gonna put that effort in. But anyway, I was gonna go on the bullet points because I like my argument has always been there should be. It's not. I feel like I've written it down here somewhere. I'm gonna find it, but there should be some sort of way to tune the difficulty.
Like in Celeste or Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, like in Celeste, which I mentioned by name in here. Um, but yeah, so there's like the first opposition to this is, well, there's many, but one of them is it would compromise the artistic vision of the game, and I would ask, is it's difficult or it's challenging and actually an artistic vision? Is that part of an artistic vision of a game just because it's difficult? Like, I'm asking, like, genuinely, because I
I
don't
don't
know
know
the
if it's
answer.
someone's artistic vision, but I see no reason why you cannot create a game specifically for like a group of people who like for an audience that love the challenge of this sort of game. That's kind of what I think they're doing here, but I don't think they've marketed it as that because they want to get as many people to buy it as possible.
Yes. I mean, that's video game. That's business.
Yeah,
Not necessarily
yeah.
video games. This is business. Get as many people to buy the game. Like, okay. Second one. What... Second opposition is that difficulty options would ruin the experience. But for who and how?
Yeah.
Because if we're playing, let's say this option existed in Bloodborne, because Bloodborne is a game if there was an option to turn down the difficulty in Bloodborne,
Mm-hmm.
right, and this is going to feed into another bullet point, I'm just going to roll straight into it. If there was an option to turn down the difficulty in Bloodborne, that wouldn't ruin my experience because I would play it the way I did play it, the way I played it, where I was like, this is fucking amazing. Where it would enhance my experience is you would play it, and I know you would, because, and I'm not throwing shade at you when I say that this isn't your kind of game. Like, you don't want a game, like, you don't want a game to beat you into a bloody pulp and then to get back up and try to dust off and try again. But, like, I feel like the lore, the setting, even the gameplay style of Bloodborne turned down a little bit, so it's not like every enemy can viciously murder you. I feel like you would love Bloodborne.
Yeah, it's a gothic horror world. I would love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing screams Curse of Strahd at me. The certain aspects of the lore do make me chuckle.
So yeah, it's like, not only would that not ruin my experience as someone who plays the game, would play the game like super hard, because it's an option I don't have to use. It would enhance my experience because we could talk about Bloodborne.
Yeah, I mean, take Resident Evil 2 for a second. I've been killed in Resident Evil 2 a few times. I've never gone for the assisted mode because it keeps popping at me at.
Oh, I'm not saying you don't enjoy a challenge. You beat Ori. You got through Ori, so there you go. You know, it's always hard when I say it because it feels like I'm insulting you when I'm really not. It's just like, Bloodborne is your type of game, but not at that level. It would be like you just clicking the difficulty level all the way at the top. It's like, you wouldn't if there was the option not to. Like, you might try it, and then you might go.
I tend to play games on normal difficulty.
Yeah, like the problem is the normal difficulty in Bloodborne is like insane.
And I know I can't play at that level, so I won't get Sekiro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I've always felt when I looked at this game that the developers for this game are making games for a specific audience. They found a niche in the market, and they're playing their strengths at this. And I think they feel if they did make a difficulty slider, it would negatively impact.
I disagree. I mean, that's
the
point
perception.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but
I mean, I don't think they're going to like be sitting there going, "Ooh, if we made like a slightly easier like version of Bloodborne, would get these people to come buy this game."
Yeah, but I feel like it would. Like, personally, I feel like it would.
Yeah.
Like, that's my rebuttal to that. I don't know. Like, yeah, that's my rebuttal to that point. Will be like, it would get more people in, which would then increase the amount of people talking about the game and so on and so forth. Like, it would double. In fact, Patrick would probably buy it, so that would be 2 extra. Like, just on this podcast alone,
Yeah.
Like 2 extra people would be playing this game. They found a niche in the market, but the problem is, like, I know from like following the discourse on Twitter and whatnot, like, I'm not the only person who, because I'm in that niche. I love Bloodborne. I finished Dark Souls 3. I never finished the first one, but I enjoyed it for what I played of it. But I'm in that niche, and I bounced off this game. And I'm not the only person who is a big fan of From Software's game who's in that niche, who just went bang and just came off and just went, nope, not for me. So, like, is this self-defeating at a certain point? Like, because what they've done in Sekiro is they've doubled down on specific aspects of the challenge. Like, is that not self-defeating? Is that not shrinking? Is that not like a battle royale, shrinking a circle until there's no one left?
The more games they release like this, I think people hear about them and like buy them sort of they've heard the rumors, and because it's not like Dark Souls 4, people aren't going to get turned off by the idea of I haven't played any other games. And as I mentioned before, the Dark Souls is pretty lore heavy.
Yeah, no, it's all lore.
Like,
there's a story, but it's presented to you is lore. That's one of the things I fucking love about Bloodborne, like the way that its story is presented to you. I just love Bloodborne, but yeah, well, you mentioned Celeste before, which obviously is a super challenging platformer, which again I played through as intended, with like I messed around with all of the sliders and options that it had because I was reviewing it, so I was like, well, I need to try it. But Celeste is a game that anyone can play. You can literally turn yourself into a freaking... You could just give yourself infinite everything and just fly through all of the levels if you so desire to do that. Does that ruin the experience? Like, if you decided to pick up Celeste and you were like, fuck this, I'm going to turn on infinite stamina, infinite jumps, and just... Would that ruin your experience? Well, I mean, no. If that's how you wanted to enjoy the game... And also, it would get you to experience the actual game as opposed to not experience it. Like, so the ruin the experience thing is like, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't ruin anyone's experience. But, like, just imagine if it wasn't just like a case of flipping the switch between easy and normal, which is like, which would be like extreme and very hard. Like, if it was like Celeste's difficulty sliders, like maybe you could just have a little bit of extra health, or just have the enemies do a little bit less damage, give yourself a bigger parrying window, and like just tailor it to how you want the game to feel. Options, man.
Give yourself max pain.
Turn everything down and run through the game like a fucking god. You know what? If that's what you want to do, cool. I wouldn't do that, but I mean, I might do that if there was one boss. I'd beat the boss normally, and then I'd go back, and then I'd turn all of the options on, and I'd be like, right, you motherfucker. This is for the 600 times you killed me. And then I just Super Saiyan. But yeah, like, I just wanted to have this discussion, and I felt like having it with you would be cool because, you don't play these games for this reason.
I'll have to kneel.
Yep. There was a thing I was going to do about reviews. I might do it next week if it's another slow news week, because we know how to talk, as it turns out. Keith, EA have found that people want inclusive games with friendlier communities. So this was a story from the week before last, which I missed and decided to pick up because, again, it was a slow news week. But Jenny Shee of EA's Global Consumer Insights team wrote about the results of an online survey of 2,252 US gamers between the ages of 13 and 54 last May. She identified 4 main takeaways from the survey results, first and foremost being that most players want to see inclusions in their game. As examples of what inclusion looks like, the survey suggested character customization options for a variety of skin colors and body sizes, narratives featuring culturally diverse characters, features for people with special needs, and healthy and friendly in-game chat experiences. I'm not going to... Should I quote the percentages? Should I just go all in and just read this whole thing?
Go all in.
When asked how important it was to make games more inclusive, 56% said it was important, 31% were neutral on the topic, and 13% said it was not important. The numbers shifted a little when the survey asked how such features affected players' decisions, with 45% saying it made them more likely to play a game, 48% saying it had no impact, and just 7% saying it made them less likely to play a game. Another big takeaway along the same lines is that representation of diversity in the industry is both important and improving. Whether respondents were men or women, white or non-white, more than 50% of each category agreed that representation was getting better in recent years, while low single digits said it was getting worse. Quote, despite the notable increase in representation, many players stress that diversity and inclusion shouldn't simply be a checkbox for game developers, and that it should come from a genuine players, she noted. I'm not saying she is in she, I'm saying that's in surname. See, she. Just because me and you can actually see it written down, but yeah. Jenny Shee. They don't just want to see more variety of characters, they also want those characters to seem authentic and have substantial, meaningful roles instead of falling into stereotypes, end quote. Going beyond diversity, she also stressed the importance of tackling toxicity within the player base. 61% of respondents said they were concerned about toxicity in the games industry, more than any other potential concern except for game quality, and significantly above lack of original content, 56%, microtransactions and DLC, 49%, representation, 40%, and violence in games, 36%. Finally, she underscored the effect that toxicity in the industry is having on the diversity of the player base. Specifically, she said that women in games face more barriers to playing online multiplayer, with many citing poor behaviour and toxicity from other players as a reason to stay away. However, it's not just women that get driven away by toxicity. EA asked those who don't play online multiplayer games what might make them give it a shot, and 1/3 of men and 1/3 of women both replied that tackling disruptive behaviour and toxicity would do the trick. It was the most common response from either gender, at least 12 percentage points higher than any other option except one. 30% of women said limiting violence in games would make them reconsider online multiplayer, while just 10% of men would have given it another chance for that reason. It's pretty cool, right?
The thing I would think about the survey is if they're much like the ones that pop up on Microsoft, where it's like voluntary to opt in, you're going to get a slightly skewed basis of that. If these people are getting paid, if the game is getting paid, then
It was an online survey of all sorts of different gamers. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Continue.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I was just thinking, because like someone like when it pops up to a survey, most people just hit no.
Yeah.
But you get a certain sort of person who is probably bored or somewhat nice that will just say something.
Yeah. I mean, what I would say to that is it would be people with an agenda who would be more likely to do this in that regard. So if that was the case, given what we know about the games industry, the gamers, it probably would have skewed in a completely different direction if that was the case. I wonder if they selected people on Origin, via Origin to take this, because Origin, obviously, with Origin they have all sorts of information about age and gender and all sorts of different things that they could go, okay, we need a wide sampling of let's just select this person. You know what I mean? I think that might be how it's done. But it's just nice because we're in that bubble of everybody's screaming about, I mean, Riot Games last year, Battlefield 5, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's nice to hear something which is actually we asked a bunch of people and this is actually what the truth of the matter is. Or at least, this is it's not just people on Reddit screaming about forced diversity or historical accuracy in a game where you can get blown up by a tank and some dude can come along and just like inject you with something and then you're like ready to go again. Historical accuracy. But anyway, this is cool. It's nice to hear. How do you think they could go about this? I wrote a question at the end, which was, how does the industry go about actually tackling this? Because to me, there's the headline is the basic takeaway, right? What more inclusive games with friendlier communities? More inclusive games is relatively straightforward. Just if you have a massively diverse pool of creators making games, you will end up with a massively diverse pool of games. It's like the old argument that Brooklyn Nine-Nine can tell stories a lot of other TV shows can't because they have a massively diverse cast. And that was in relation to the episode. This is like a comparative thing, but it's like the episode where they do the whole stop and search thing with Terry Crews' character would not have been as impactful if they didn't have a second black character on the show.
Yes.
And most TV shows only have one black character. So it gives you opportunity. It gives you options to be able to do things in a different way. So I mean, that part's super easy. Just make your games more diverse and have more diverse people making them. Ding. Don't go, oh well, we had all male characters because it was super expensive to animate female characters. Sorry, I had to get that in there. But the second part is like friendlier communities. Toxicity in games. If we'd have figured out how to answer that question, things would be a lot different.
We're going to siege mode. Just a certain word to get back.
I mean, hell yeah, right? I mean, Apex Legends is a nice step, I think, in the right direction, because the game allows you to be a member of a team and like an effective member of a team without having to jump into voice chat because you've got the pinging system.
Yeah.
You avoid, but then that's not tackling toxicity in
No.
games. It's just letting you avoid toxicity in games. Um, it's a fucking complicated thing, and it's been around for a while. It's getting worse. Like, I mean, there are the obvious answers. Don't do an AMA and HN. Don't release rape games on your platform. Like, things like this might be a good place to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get past those really basic, obvious ones, it's like, shit. Rainbow Six Siege. Do you implement that kind of thing in other games? You do what Blizzard does and check out like Twitch profiles and YouTube chat profiles and find people committing offenses completely outside of the Battle.net ecosystem. Is that a good idea? Like, is that something that could even be implemented across the board? That seems like it would require manpower.
Mm.
And speaking of manpower, we've got 3 news stories that we're probably not going to discuss in great detail, but I felt like all 3 of them needed to be touched upon. So first of all, while I've got that segue, let's talk about how EA just laid off another 350 people. Do you know what? There's a full statement here.
We don't need to
I'm
read
not
it.
going to subject you to it because we have done this story so many times in the last 12 months that I guarantee you've probably heard it before.
Yeah.
Basically, they just fired a ton of people. And as you've put in a bullet point, fired to improve end-of-year earnings. And as I said right before we started, they probably have to pay them severance, so the end-of-year earnings would probably look worse. They also just Apex Legends also just launched, and it was the most, in terms of revenue, the most successful free-to-play game launch ever. Like, they just made $92 million.
Yeah.
They've pulled an Activision. Record revenues.
Yeah.
We just fired a bunch of people.
Yeah. Streamlined it so that they project the cost for next year or lower. My heart goes out to these people. There's no unions in the game industry, it appears. There's
No,
there's no safety net for these people. They have no job security whatsoever, and it's. I mean, all of us really don't have much job security. But
yeah.
to touch on,
Yeah.
I mean, just in general, anything can happen in the world. You
Yeah.
can get fired and stuff. But I had the opportunity and to become a part member of a union, which gives me, like some faint illusion that,
It might not
will
necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, it won't stop me getting from fired if I mess up, but it would help if like the company decides just like axe like X number of people for like no apparent reason.
For no apparent reason. Because again, like these are the things that always get lost in the shuffle. It's like Apex Legends just made a fuck ton of money. Anthem, we talked about that last week. Despite all of the problems, it was the best-selling game of February. It's the second best-selling game of the year so far. And then they're like, oh, well, we need to streamline our business. No, you don't. I mean, sure, restructure and reorganize.
Yeah.
But, like, don't just go, oh, fuck. We need to just fire 350 people out of
It's like that bit in The Fifth Element, where it's like, the government's asked us, like, I think the economy's going to wake up, they've asked you to fire, like, X amount of people to go to, like, a few thousand people, fire 3 million, and it's like, what?
Yeah, you just
it's a very different industry, so we can't make too much comparisons of ourselves, but yeah, there is just no job security or...
No, definitely not. I mean, we've
There's
seen
just
it.
sort of acceptance in the games industry that this is what happens.
The last 12 months have been a fucking clusterfuck of like job losses and studio closures, and a lot of them just feel like they could have been avoided.
Yeah, so many of them. I mean, it's not like the people who made Kings of Amalur. It's sort of like the publisher, the developers are going, we need to make more and more money from every game we release, and when it just seems to like our expectations are up here, and then it's like, all right, it's gone, and so we just cut off people, so we're saving money, and it's just like,
Well, sales expectations in the video game industry are always a problem. Like
yeah,
the like Square Enix is fucking terrible for it. Like
yeah,
or like Sega when Alien Isolation came out and it sold like
yeah,
1 million units, and it's like and Sega were like this didn't meet our expectations. It's like it's critically acclaimed. It sold well considering it's a horror game, and
yeah,
like they're not gonna sell like massive numbers.
yeah. It's like,
Like what more do you want? Like what do you actually want? Like do you want
yeah,
Alien Isolation to sell as well as Call of fucking Duty? Because this is never gonna happen. And that's just
it's
obviously one
like,
example. But yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah, it is that sort of thing where, see,
We're going all in on this one, by the way. I'm saving the other two. This isn't a three-topic
yeah,
topic
it's
now.
just
We're
like,
going all in on this.
like,
You've got my
what
backup.
are we actually expecting like the release thing for this to be? And it's like, as you say, it's like original Tomb Raider reboots didn't sell as many as like Square Enix hoped for.
Mm-hmm.
What was their like the original figure that they actually wanted? It's like, well, were they looking at Call of Duty going, oh yeah, it's like Lara Croft was really popular in the 90s. We can make this again, and we will sell X amount of units and stuff, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it still sold well.
Yes, this is the thing. Like these games sell well. They just don't sell. They're just not the best-selling game of the year. So that sometimes that's just not good enough. Like,
Yeah, I
and that's
mean,
fucked
I,
up.
I'm fairly sure all of the Tomb Raider games made a profit. I know the second one was a bit weird because it was released at two different times.
It's the best. The original Tomb Raider reboot,
Yeah,
2013, sold 1 million units in its first 48 hours,
yeah,
and has sold more than 11 million copies as of November 2017.
yeah,
So it's sold
yeah,
incredibly well. Like a million copies in 48 hours is good. It's just good, no matter what. Like
yeah.
that is just
And
good
it meet
numbers.
expectations.
But it doesn't meet expectations. I mean, what are these expectations and where do they come from? Like, how did someone at EA decide that Anthem was going to sell 6 million units by March 31st, which is today, by the way? Like, if Anthem hasn't sold 6 million units by right now, it hasn't
Yeah.
met its sales
It's a
expectations.
commercial failure
Yeah, it's a
by
commercial
the
failure.
standards set down by EA.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know if they're looking at Destiny 2 figures or the original Destiny figures and going, "This is what we need to make if we're gonna like be
I mean, if
the
they've
game."
based it on the budgets and it needs to sell this many units, like
Yeah,
to break even, maybe don't you definitely need to look at how much money you're spending on games. Like,
yeah. I don't think that even comes into these figures sometimes.
I
I
mean,
mean, obviously there was the baseline where we've regained the money that we spent.
yeah, that's where you want, but that should be like, and then
That
everything
should
after that is
be-
profit ish.
that can't be it. That can't be like how much they've spent and how much they've marketed to build this game.
Definitely, I don't think so. Like, I can't say 100% definitely not, but I don't think so. Like they shot themselves in both feet once when they went, aha, surprise, here's Apex Legends 2 weeks before the game came out, and then
Yeah,
again with that EA Access early trial thing.
yeah,
Not the full subscription where you got the full game, although kind of as well, because they managed to do because they did this with Mass Effect Andromeda as well, where they built negative
yes,
hype for the game the week before it came out, because all that happened was a lot of people started complaining because the game was buggy and it was broken and it wasn't great, and then the loot wasn't that good, and then there was
yeah,
this fucking challenge tomb quest line in the middle of the game that just existed for no reason.
yeah. I'm wondering if they do this a third time. If next year we're gonna get a game that comes out just before the end of the financial year, which has got high sales expectations, is released in some sort of like convoluted way before the game actually comes out and gets a lot of negative hype because it's buggy.
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I know it's supposed to come out this fall, but classic EA move to delay it until February.
Indeed. I was going to mention something about Dragon Age. Me hoping that doesn't happen to that.
Dragon Age
But
is not coming out for a long time.
unless it's Dragon Age 2.
They rebooted development last year. So unless they pull a Dragon Age 2, which would be a fucking disastrous idea. Yes, but I remember the stories about Dragon Age 2's development. They made a game in less than 2 years. Like, I'll always applaud them for actually that game actually being finished in the time that they had to make it. But
And we have had the discussion about the Let's Bio,
fucking
where I
hell,
defended it.
like,
I defend it not based on its physical autistic merits, but the idea of making a RPG game where it's based over like a period of
yeah, I mean,
playing a character's life in a fantasy world.
oh, I mean, like, as an experience,
I'm not getting too going into this.
as an overall Umbrella experience, I wasn't a fan of it. But given what they had to work with and the time they had to work with it, like, it was a miracle. It was a miracle that the game worked. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, I don't understand, like, how, like, it's capitalism. Obviously, I understand it, but at the same time, it's like, as a human being with like feelings and empathy, I just look at decisions like this, and it just makes me fucking angry.
Yeah.
That.
Well, eventually they're gonna. I mean, EA has over the past few years, we've mentioned, shot itself in the foot or the head so many times. With ideas which in retrospect, well, we've just gone, this is so stupid. They've rushed games out before the end of the year, end of the financial year, for their earnings. Even though just delaying it a couple of months would have done so much for the game if Andromeda.
Like, I'll always say, like, Mass Effect Andromeda came out in summer, we'd still have a Mass Effect series. We'd be waiting for Mass Effect Andromeda too. Like, definitely.
Yeah. And then you've got games that they've sent out to die.
I mean, they buried Titanfall 2 with one of their own games. Like, what the fucking... What? To coin a Keith Robinson original, what the literal fuck was that? Months. Everybody was asking that question, and they just went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah. It made no sense.
And that game died.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason it came out my latest scroll today was because I thought we were going to do it. But it is an amazing game. It still holds up years after it came out. For its like graphics and its gameplay is amazing. One of, if not possibly the best first-person shooter I've ever played.
Damn, son.
Yeah. That's a big. I mean, I don't play that many. I don't play the early thing of Call of Duty, but that's still a statement.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to put it in the pantheon of first-person shooters, but it would be on my mind.
Yeah.
If I was making like a top 5 list.
Yeah.
It would be how in my brain to put it on that list.
Yeah.
Whether it made it out into the cut or whatever, but like the fact that I'm thinking about it alongside games like Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein, Halo, like Half-Life, like it says something in and of itself. Because it's an incredible game. It is. It just is. Like, it was my number 3 game of the year on the year it came out, and that was a strong year for games. It beat out things like Hitman. Like, for me personally, and you know how much I love these games I'm going to talk about, it beat out things like Hitman, Uncharted 4, Stardew Valley, Doom, The Last Guardian, and I was like, it's above all of those games.
Yeah.
But he is stupid, I think, is the...
EA has made some very questionable decisions over the years, which many armchair historians have got, like, this is an incredibly stupid move.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've made stuff that we've disagreed before, which has really worked for them. I mean, not doing any PR for Anthem at all. Not Anthem, but Apex Legends.
Well, the way they released Apex Legends was actually genius.
Yeah.
Because They just sidestepped the whole like negativity of this isn't Titanfall 3. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You've made it a battle royale was over before it began, because once
Yeah.
it started, people were still playing. People were actually just playing the game and going, actually, this is really good.
Yeah, it was made to think. But if you say it's like we're going to release a game with no marketing, I'll start comparing it like Shadow Tomb Raider, where they did a bit of marketing and then just completely left it
Yeah.
when the game came out, so people didn't know it was out. But what they did with
Well,
Apex
they did
Legends,
marketing. It was just
amazing.
It was completely different. It was perfect for the type of game Apex Legends was, because it was okay. So a bunch of streamers have played, a bunch of YouTube people have played. We've invited them down to play this game, and they're going to make content for it, which is going to come out when the game comes out. And then we've paid a bunch of like high end streamers, so that when the game launches, they will be playing it, so people can immediately dive in and watch their favorite streamer play Apex Legends.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time everybody was like, fuck, this isn't Titanfall 3, it's like, oh, but it's really good though. The conversations happened simultaneously, whereas if they'd announced Apex Legends last summer at E3, they would have been like buried under negativity for like 8 months.
So many like battle royales. It's not Titanfall 3. They killed the franchise by the 3D
What do you mean
universe.
there's no wall running double
What?
shotgun?
There's no war. That I was really annoyed when I played it, when the tutorial and stuff, and there was no war running.
Yeah, it does make sense.
But I played it with you and Russell, and
it's fun. Like, we might pick it up again, maybe. We'll see. That's a conversation for private. Anyway, Keith, makes weird decisions, and hopefully they can stop doing that. Let's do games out this week and then get the fuck out of here, because that went on way too long. Way longer than I thought it would. I'm glad I started with that one. Because it wasn't originally first. I'm just going to do this. There are 3 games out this week. Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. Another surprise announcement. It's coming out on April 3rd on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Bout of Blood Last Captain Standing is coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on April 3rd as well. And on April 5th, we have Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission on PC and Switch. It's after the end of the financial year, so there's no deluge of games like last week.
Yeah. Borderlands coming out this week. I wonder if there was any announcements in the last couple of days.
It's coming out on the day that because they did the PAX thing where they were like Borderlands 3, and then there wasn't much information. And then on April 3rd, they've said they're gonna announce loads more stuff for it, which is the day the remaster comes out. So.
Yeah.
Did you actually?
I did like that, because I followed the amount of people on Twitter, and one of them was at PAX, and it was just Borderlands 3 or Riot, and then a couple hours later it was yes!
Riot averted.
Yeah.
The reveal itself was terrible, technical issues, they couldn't get videos to load. The actual reveal trailer for Borderlands 3 was stuttering so badly, everyone was like, what the fuck, the frame rate in this game is terrible. And they're like, no, it's the video's stuttering. It's they had all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
And it was an hour long, apparently.
Yeah, I saw the reveal thing, was it the guy who does Rick and Morty?
Just
Someone
in
Saves the
Roiland.
World. Someone Saves the Universe. Can't remember what his name was, beginning with a T.
Trover Saves the Universe. That's another game.
That's the game, yeah.
So, that's going to do it for episode 150 of the Words About Gamescast.
Yeah.
Say bye, Keith. We've just kind of ran out of steam for the first time
ever.
We
totally have.
Yeah. See ya.